Welcome back, everybody. How is everyone doing? I hope everyone is having a great Friday and everyone is enjoying hopefully warmer weather than we're having here in Ohio. It's freezing and windy, but what's new? We live in Ohio. Anyways, let's move on from the coldness of Ohio and let's talk about where we are, Sacramento. As you can see, we're flying the Flightfactor A320 today, which has made an appearance on this channel before, but it has had an update since it was featured, and actually there are some new features that are going to be shown here shortly as we push back. Today's flight is from Sacramento up to Seattle. Seattle is one of the airports that I have payware scenery for, so I wanted to go up there and kind of show you guys what payware airports can really offer. However, you'll see as the flight goes on, we land at night, so you don't actually get to see the city, or you do get to see the airport, but the city is what I feel makes it, because it's incredible, and the approach where you go over the city and come back, since it was dark, there's really nothing to see, which is my fault because we just left Sacramento too late. So we'll be doing another flight there, most definitely. Trust me on that. Alright, so let's kind of talk about the flight. That screen that you see right there is new for the update, or at least is new to me. I might be months behind here, but it is a new screen to me, and it right now really doesn't serve as much to the aircraft. The cool part is you can control the lights in the cabin. You can dim them, you can brighten them, all that stuff, which is really nice if you're doing night flights, because when you do turn the lights on, the lights, if you're looking from the outside, the cabin looks brighter. But you'll see, and for takeoff, you have to verify that the cabin is okay before the takeoff checklist that pops up on the screen is okay. So here we are pushing back. We are starting up engine number 2. We are pushing back from the same gate that we actually parked in last week with just a different airplane. When I was looking at flights to do, I knew I wanted to go to Seattle. I was thinking about maybe just going to San Francisco this week and then going up to Seattle next week, because we could fly something bigger out of San Francisco. But I just decided to kind of make it unrealistic and fly a bigger plane that we didn't fly in the last couple weeks up to Seattle. Normally this flight is operated within Embraer 170, the aircraft that we flew here last week, which is why I decided maybe not, because I think we've seen enough of that airplane and I had enough on that landing to last me a while. Which, spoiler alert, this landing is a lot better, but the approach is probably about the same monstrosity as the last couple episodes. But here we are pushing back. For some reason, the better pushback audio is not in the recording, so you'll see me just kind of go down and set the parking brake here in a little bit, and that's because they were telling me that they were ready. I don't understand why that happened, but hey, I'm not a technology expert, obviously. But we are starting engine number 2. There's that parking brake that you saw. So they now are disconnecting from the aircraft. And there's an outside view as engine number 1 spools up, and then the better pushback truck is slowly dropping us. I cannot begin to praise this aircraft. The Flightfactor A320 is absolutely incredible. Not only with its operating systems, but the fuselage, the model of the aircraft itself is incredible. Absolutely, it's beautiful. Flightfactor did a great job on this aircraft. Granted, I know it's been out for a while, but like I said, there was an update within the last month or two. So they're obviously still working on it, which is incredible that you can have a company that cares that much to continue to updating an aircraft even after you buy it once. Like some companies, you know, release it and then they just let it go. But Flightfactor seems to be very on it on updates and making sure that their aircraft works well in the simulator of X-Plane. You see there, we see the pin shown. And we are good to go. We are taking off of runway 34 right at Sacramento, and here we go. We are out on our way. Now, as you can see, the video is about 31 minutes long here. I did want to mention, who models that a like sports car like a Camaro or Lamborghini is driving on the airport? Has anyone from Sacramento, is this real? Because I'd like to know. Please let me know. It just made me chuckle when I was like pulling out. I was like, are you kidding? But anyways, so the video is about 31 minutes. The flight in total, the actual footage of everything that you're about to see is 2 hours and 15 minutes. So that is cut into a very short video for you. And it has a aspect that I haven't done before. It's a time lapse. I did a wing view, and you kind of get to see the sunset, and you kind of get to see it go darker, which is actually kind of cool. And I hope you guys like it, because I think it turned out pretty good for what I was trying to do. Again, I love wing views, and I think the A320 has one of the best wing views out there. You saw the flaps go down. It's absolutely incredible how everything is modeled. When you're on an Airbus to when you're flying this simulator, it's almost identical on the actual aircraft side of things. It's absolutely incredible. I can go on and on about the Flightfactor A320 forever. It's the first payware aircraft that I bought on X-Plane almost 2 years ago now. So it's incredible, and I definitely recommend it. Granted, I wouldn't recommend it right now because we're in the middle of that new Microsoft simulator coming out here in a couple months for beta testing. Or it's in beta, but when they release it, people are still thinking that it will still be in beta, and they will continue to improve it there. As you can see here, I'm dimming the lights of the cabin. Then we go back to that status page, and then we're saying that the cabin is okay for departure. I think they're just trying to add like another level of immersion for the aircraft, which I'm totally for. I love being immersed and really having the whole aspect of the aircraft. Here you can see the cabin. I think this is a cool view. I think I have it on this and the Zebo. You just feel like a flight attendant every time I do it. I just want to start doing, ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard flight 243 to like Seattle. I think that's super incredible, which I will gladly admit that I'm jealous of flight attendants all the time, because here I am sitting in college and they're out traveling the world. Flight attendants and pilots, jealous of both. There's the beautiful sunset over there with the wing. I'm telling you, the reflections, everything is gorgeous. I will keep saying that this whole video. It's absolutely incredible. Here we go. The aircraft is taxiing. Like, look at that look at that model. Obviously, as you've seen all this time, we're doing a Delta livery. I will switch up the airlines, but I think the last 3, yeah, all of the new videos have been in Delta liveries. Sorry, nope, the first one was in Southwest. Haha, we're perfect. But here we are, we're getting the aircraft ready for departure. Sacramento wasn't really busy tonight, so we just got right out of here. So we're pulling onto that runway right now.
Approaching 34 right.
Thank you.
On runway 34, right.
Thank you again. Spooling up those engines. You hear the first click. You're going to hear a second click here soon. And there you go. That is takeoff power set. And auto throttles come on. Rotate. Positive rate, gear up. We go ahead and bring that throttle back to climb power, which is the first click you hear normally. And we go ahead and turn that autopilot on, just so that the aircraft can kind of start doing its own thing. Sometimes on these departures, especially one where it's just like direct to a point, there's no actual departure. I like to just turn on that autopilot because I feel like I mess that up. Here's a wing view as we bring in those flaps in a turn. Absolutely gorgeous. And there we go. There's the view of us departing Sacramento. This time of like day when the sun is setting is one of my favorites because it's when you get to still see everything with light, but the airport lights are on. I think airport lighting is one of the coolest things. So when you get to see that while also being able to see your surroundings, I think it's incredible. Which is why normally when you see me departing airports, I always have this view at least once of us leaving the airport, because realistically the architecture of airports amazes me. I know some of them are just simple, but even like simple rectangles like Atlanta, which is just copy paste rectangles mixed with some non-rectangles, there's just something really beautiful about it, especially when you're looking at it from above it, like with all of the infrastructure that goes into it. It's incredible. And the infrastructure of aircraft are incredible as well. You're in a metal tube flying. In this flight, we're flying 36,000 feet above the ground. That's incredible. But here we go. We're continuing to climb up to 10,000 feet. Once we hit 10,000 feet, is kind of when we go into a wing view for a bit, and then we go into the other wing view, and that is the time lapse. Well, alright, while the aircraft is just in its climb and we just have stuff coming in front of us on the camera here, I wanted to talk about something. I was looking through Twitter today, and I just realized the A380 is the last fuselage that is going to be put together. The last A380 that is being built is on its way to the factory right now. That's crazy. Yeah, there's just a bunch of like videos of the cockpit area of the aircraft coming through the city. That's incredible. It got me thinking, like, how long has the A380 been around? I'm gonna look it up real quick here. Well, so it says the project was announced in 1990. So, I mean, that's not saying when the first aircraft was delivered. But, I mean, still, if you think about it, that's what, 30 years? Okay, so, I mean, this is crazy because it was announced in 1990 to challenge the Boeing 747, which we all knew. But the program wasn't actually launched until 2000, with the first prototype coming out in 2005. Holy crap. I have never actually put together how new this aircraft is. For me, I felt like it's been here forever. Yeah, its first flight was in 2005. That's 15 years ago. Holy crap. And then as of December 2019, 242 have been built. So I'm guessing that not that many more have come out since then. So what, like 245, 250 maybe? That's crazy. That just shows, which granted, the Airbus A380 never really got any footing here in the US. None of the three major airlines that fly from the US that would even think about flying it decided not to, and I think it's because Boeing unveiled the 787 and kind of undermined it, because even the airlines here for a while have been planning to go away from the 747. It's just kind of been proving that bigger is not always better. And I think Airbus kind of got a little bit ahead of themselves by just being like, how can we beat the 747? And they're just like, let's just build this massive aircraft. But if you think about it, airlines that bought that had to, first off, make sure an airport could accept it. Airports had to modify just to fit this aircraft. Even then, these aircraft had to be followed or led by a car to make sure they weren't going to hit anything. That, to me, makes it a very, like, unacceptable addition to most people's fleets, because why would you want something that difficult? It proves, and that's why, like, the 777X that's coming out with the folded wingtips, the reason they're doing that is so that the aircraft can fit in normal sized gates, which I think is smart, making it so that airlines don't have to change infrastructure for this aircraft. That's pretty smart, especially in a world where it's all about money and making money. If an airline has to spend money to make a gate to be able to work with an aircraft, they're not going to look at that aircraft seriously. Granted, like Emirates and Qatar and Qantas, they all thought, like, they want that. They want that. But it makes sense. I think the aircraft came out too late. I think if it was introduced much earlier, I think airlines would have grasped onto it more. Because I think it came out right in a period of time where airlines really were deciding to pull back from that bigger aircraft style and kind of going to what do we actually need on this route? Do we need the capability to have 700 seats? Probably not.
Flaps. Flaps.
While we've been talking, we did the time lapse, and then we are on our arrival. We started in a little bit later in the arrival than usual, and I think it's because it was dark. It wasn't really interesting, and it was just a normal downwind. And you couldn't see the city, which is one of the main reasons I cut it out. It just didn't make sense to me.
Approaching
So here we are.
16 right.
Landing at Seattle. I will go ahead and shut up and let you guys enjoy the landing, and I will be back with you on the ground.
$500. $400.
Glide slope.
I mean, it wouldn't be a landing here on this channel without some landing difficulties, right? So we had some trouble with the glide slope.
$300. $200. $200. $100. $50. $40. $30.
And of course, we have a Cargolux 747 landing in the
20.
opposite
Retard.
direction.
Retard. 10-5.
There we go, touchdown. I think this is one of the best landings I've had on this channel ever. Not saying much, but hey. And then you see we have another aircraft here. This is what I'm saying. When world traffic adds a lot, but it also takes a lot away. But we'll just move past it. In the replays, the aircraft aren't there. We can go ahead and stow the reversers and go ahead and use this high-speed turnoff. We can kind of go ahead and start cleaning up the aircraft. You saw we put the spoilers down. We can go ahead and turn the landing lights off, and go ahead and turn the wing lights off, the runway turn-off lights, and turn that nose light to taxi. Getting the aircraft basically in the form that we want it as we continue our taxi here at Seattle. We bring those flaps up. And not using any throttle here. This is me trying to decide where I'm going. You can also hear the radio. The radio's been going on this whole arrival. I turned the radios off in the aircraft, but yet decided to just keep going. So I apologize for that, but you will hear that. But here you go. This is a cool picture of the aircraft with the logo light on, and you can see the reflections of these strobe lights and the nav lights. Very cool. The lighting on this aircraft is very nice as well. I'm not going to start bragging about the Flightfactor A320 again.
Approaching 3-4 center.
Thank you. That was also me making sure that there were no aircraft on final, so that we could go ahead and cross, and it looked like there were no aircraft on immediate final for any of the runways, so we just continue our taxi, which is why you see I don't even try to stop at the next runway. I just continue because starting and stopping takes a lot longer, and that would have might have put us in timing with one of the aircrafts that's landing.
Approaching 3-4 right.
Thank you. And there we go. You can see we're going to turn off those strobe lights, meaning that we are clear of the runway, which we're not actually clear yet, but we're far enough that it doesn't matter. And we're going to start heading towards our gate. We have a long gate taxi, so it's actually cut by the replays. But we're gonna start turning in here to the alleyway, and we're gonna start that APU is what you see me trying to reach for. You guys are gonna rush the replays, so we'll be back right after that. Here you go. Welcome back. How do you think we did? I thought that was one of our better landings, but hey, obviously my standards are really low because you've seen the landings that I've pulled out in the last couple weeks. Also, the A320 kind of flies itself, so it's not a hard aircraft to land, but I have to admit, I've had some very bad landings in this aircraft too, which hopefully throughout the course of this channel you see that we get better on that. As you can see, we had to go around the long way because of this aircraft who was supposed to be pushing out while we were actually taxiing, but of course they were late on departure. So here we are pulling into our gate as they push out next to us. And of course we don't have a marshaller, so here's us kind of marshalling ourselves in. Kind of a cool view with that Dash 8 being pushed out with their engines running. Pretty cool. Sometimes the brakes on my joystick are a little interesting. That's what you saw happen there. Sometimes they don't work, and then sometimes they overwork, which is what you're seeing there. Today they decided to work really well. So this is me just kind of trying to line up the gateway with the door. This airport does have auto gates. You'll see this one doesn't actually deploy, which you'll actually see me look at it for a second or two to see if it is going to, and then it decides not to, and if if you don't picture it, it's my head just dropping here when I turn back around. I'm just like, okay, like fine. Turn those lights back up. Allow the passengers to see and start getting their stuff ready. And then you can see that we go to the baggage carts to start getting that baggage offloaded, and then opening that door to say if the gate was there to start the boarding off process. And here we are, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Seattle. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you enjoyed the flight. I tried something new, trying to speed up the video. It was a long flight and trying to fit it all. So I just tried to fit the interesting parts. So please let me know what you think of the video down below. As always, have a great Friday, have a great weekend, and I will see you next Friday. Thanks for flying with us. See ya!